worst advice that was ever given to me during coaching, I chuckled my head off because that also stems from part of a video that I did the other day. Oh, mind me, I was trying to contain myself, but I just couldn't help it. So nonetheless, I'm going to explain to you why I call it the worst piece of advice, why it frustrated me, and how I decided to change things up and make it better for me. Now, I want to make a disclaimer. It's not necessarily the worst piece of advice for everybody, but this has been my personal experience. And I know that many people that have gotten into property investing have found the same frustration over and over and over. So if you stay until the end of this video, you will be able to find what will work for you. You'll also decide that, you know what, some of the things that I learned, maybe if I put a pinch of salt into it and make it a little bit more like me, I could come up with a new process. So I trust that that is going to be of value to you. Welcome to my channel. My name is Genevieve Stafford Jack. If you are new here, I'd love to welcome you. I'd like to ask you to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so that every time I upload a video, you are notified. And if you're returning, I hope you've done the same thing, because I look forward to sharing and really just building as best as I can. So getting into things, right? The worst set of advice I ever got in coaching was go and call 10 real estate agents and go and view property with all 10 of them. Maybe one of them, if not two, will come back and be favorable for you. Why was that the worst advice? You see, in the classroom, we learned to go and find distressed properties. I knew that it was rundown property. I knew it was property that was not visually appealing to many people. Right? So in my mind, when I am now going to view these properties, I've called these 10 agents, I've gone to these different areas that I am interested in, and I say I'd like to view properties. And when I get to them and I ask, is this a distressed property? And they say, yes, it's a distressed property. And we go in, and I was so disappointed so many times. I cannot explain to you how many times I was disappointed, because I'd walk in there and I think to myself, I could paint what is a problem here. Second, I could change the skirting board. Third, I could really make this particular property really nice all on my own, albeit hard work over 2 days. How do you see that this is distressed, right? These are my confessions. And I would think to myself, are you kidding me? So now, growing up in a home where my dad was in the building industry, I'd like to say I've had that added advantage from them. So nonetheless, mind my cheekiness, I would go into property after property after property. By the time I got to property number 20 or 30, God knows what number it was, I was over it. And I actually thought to myself, what did I learn from there? So in my mind at the time, it was the worst piece of advice, because I questioned, what did I learn from there? And the thing that I learned from there is what not to do. So one mad day, we see the single picture of outside only. And we decide, let's go and venture in and see this, right? We don't talk about, I am a professional property investor or successful property investor. We don't talk about anything that we come with. We just say, we want to view the property. We walked in there. When the door closed and the paint fell off, I had to contain myself from singing hallelujah. Like it was that hallelujah type of moment. I promise you, I kid you not. Then I thought to myself, did I need to go through 75 million properties to find this property? And that's why I've quantified that piece of advice the worst. But I also want to be diplomatic in saying, but it was the best, because it frustrated me enough for me to either quit or find a solution. And I found a solution where now when I go online, I have very specific methodology. I will go in, I will look at most recent, or I would look and find the adverts where there's only pictures of outside or pictures of that particular, like one picture, whatever the case is, right? But when I then look at the pictures, when they're not good quality, it just tells me if I am online. Social media has taught me that everything beautiful comes in 3D, 4D, right? Now, if I'm looking at a property that needs attention, it's not going to come in 3D or 4D, right? It's not going to come 75 pictures of the same thing from 25 angles. It's simply not going to be that way. So I find that the worst piece of advice by going to go and find 10 real estate agents and going to view property eventually became the best piece of advice, because it forced me into a situation to think out of the box. It forced me in a situation to connect with people. It forced me into a situation to keep going and know what I'm not looking for. So that eventually when I found what I was looking for, I was then able to say to that particular estate agent, please, let me know if you've got any other properties like this. And it turned out that the agent did have more properties like that, and we were able to go view it. The second level is, when you get properties like this, could you think about me? Call me before you put it onto the market so that I can come and view these properties. It then gave me a relationship with a specific real estate agent. And I want to say, not all real estate agents will be that way inclined. Sometimes you may not eventually buy from that real estate agent and you frustrate the relationship, but that comes with the territory. Think about the things that you do in work right now. Not everything that you do in work is profitable. How many times has your manager moved the goalpost and you've been frustrated? How many times have you gone down what seems like the same old, and you actually ask yourself, can somebody please help me? Right? So this is where I found my worst piece of advice in coaching eventually turned out to be really something awesome. Why? Because it put me in a situation to think outside of the box. And I want to hear from you. If you've been through coaching or you've been through property investing training, comment down in the comments below. Let me hear from you. What has been your worst piece of coaching advice?